a lot of Little Big Snake, you've probably had an experience similar to those. The computer smashing, of course, not the unexpectedly dying. But those strange deaths happen much more often than you're likely aware of. This is what we call the speed glitch. In this video, we'll tell you what's really going on and what you can do about it. I'm Yo-Yo, Chronic Emmy Award winner for Outstanding Drama Series. I'll be narrating this video for Sin, so let's get into it. Firstly, what is the speed glitch? The speed glitch is a client-side rendering glitch when rendering other players with speed pets. The position and angle of another player using a speed pet is sometimes drawn incorrectly on your screen. Let's study an example to understand the consequences more clearly. Let's rewatch this at quarter speed. This case example is nice because the Rebel skin is the same as our skin. Now watch closely. Notice anything strange about that? Let's rewatch again at 10% speed. It looks like the Rebel was ahead of T-1000 when they died. This is the frame where the Rebel appeared to die, but they actually died a few frames earlier. Converting a player from a skin to some nectar is difficult and there's often a delay. Luckily, because this is a Rebel kill, we can use the kill banner to determine when they died. Here, this is the first frame where you can just barely see the Rebel kill banner. There it is up at the top. The red crown is starting to fade in. You can very clearly see the Rebel appears to be ahead of T-1000. Despite their angles and any visual overlap, this rectangle shows they're the same size. The Rebel isn't ahead. T-1000 is ahead. Sin's game rendered T-1000 incorrectly. His position on Sin's screen is out of sync with his position according to the server. To see T-1000's actual position, we need to see his perspective. Here it is. Here we are at the kill frame. It's a bit blurry, so it's harder to see the kill banner, however you can still see his red kills increase. This differs from Sin's perspective. Here, T-1000 is clearly ahead. This is what Sin's perspective should look like. This is what the server sees. This is the correct perspective. The position of a player is shown near their regalia's attachment point. Let's zoom back in and center the crosshairs on the Rebel. Now back to Sin's perspective. This zoom compensates for Sin's watcher buff. Now to center on the Rebel. And now to switch Sin's and T-1000's perspectives while centered on the Rebel. Here's what they look like overlaid. There are very slight differences in the Rebel's orientation. These are caused by a variety of normal factors, stemming from normal perspective differences. The difference in T-1000's position, though, is staggering. This is the speed glitch. This is a major concern. Now that we have a better understanding of the speed glitch, let's talk about how you can help before moving on to more examples and details. Firstly, share this video with everyone. Make sure everyone is aware of this glitch. Secondly, submit a bug report citing this video. Instructions for this will be down in the description. Thirdly, if you think another player was glitched for you, ask for a recording of their perspective and submit a bug. And finally, the least important, like, comment, and subscribe. Engaging with this video will promote it. Sin has been reporting the speed glitch for 2 years, and it hasn't been patched. Hopefully with enough attention, that can change. Now back to some examples. The following glitch shows that orientation may vary, as well as position. Dying to spirals is a good way to tell if a player is glitched. Oftentimes they will appear to pass through your head. This is the frame where Sin appears to die. However, like last time, he actually died before this moment. He receives no indications of his actual time of death, though. We need John's perspective to know this. This is where Sin actually died. How do we know it's different from Sin's perspective, though? Let's center on Sin. Let's do the same with Sin's perspective. In Sin's perspective, the dragon's eye is completely hidden by the branch. In John's perspective, the eye is just in front of the branch. We already know John's perspective is more accurate because we saw his red kills tick up. Let's backtrack Sin's perspective by 1 frame to match. Although Sin's position isn't perfectly aligned, this seems more accurate than before. I'm sure you've already noticed the python in the room. John's position and orientation are completely screwed up. Again, the difference is astonishing. Not only John's position, but his orientation is completely different. You can even see the shape of his spiral is messed up. Notice how Sin's body and the branches line up between perspectives. John's position, direction, and entire body are completely warped though. Interestingly, the pets also don't line up. Both of those examples were players glitching for Sin. This raises an obvious question. Is this just a Sin issue? A Sinshu, if you will? Observe Sin's perspective. That looked fine. Let's check out the Rebel's perspective. That looked less fine. Let's directly compare as before. As before, the Rebel's alignment isn't completely perfect. It's close enough, though, to make it obvious. Sin's position relative to the Rebel varies between their perspectives. This tells us the glitch affects all players, not just Sin. Because the Rebel is on mobile, we also now know that the glitch affects all platforms. Let's go over an example involving 3 perspectives. Sin's perspective. The Rebel's perspective. Sin knew it was glitched. Now on to the Rebel's teammate's perspective. He knew it was glitched too. Sin's perspective combined with the Rebel's. Sin's perspective combined with the Rebel's teammates. The amount of difference here is interesting. Sin was glitched for them too. The Rebel's perspective and their teammates' perspective. Again, a noticeable difference. Here, all 3 perspectives are combined. Sin's snake is furthest forward in his perspective than the Rebel's teammate's perspective. His snake is furthest back in the Rebel's perspective. Quite frankly, we are not sure why there's so much variation. Let's discuss some technical details about speed glitching. But you don't want to hear about the technical details? Well, screw you, this is our video. If you aren't interested, skip ahead. Anyways, the technical details. Firstly, is it possible to spot speed glitch players in-game? Surprisingly, yes, though it's exceptionally difficult. You have to pay attention when a player completes a turn. In circular motion, the velocity vector is tangential to the circle. That's a fancy way of saying if they're pointed the wrong way as they spiral, something's not right. Look here. Look at the angle of the Rebel's head. It looks weirdly bent. It seems to be facing outwards rather than inwards. Yet the motion the Rebel is making is inwards. Anyone who's experienced with precision can tell you that was messed up. Let's look at another. Notice the angle of the Rebel's head as they turn. These angles don't make sense. They don't obey the game's physics. Let's check this out from my teammate's perspective. This seems like a long time to not have any words, so here are some words. Still buggy. Spirals in general seem particularly messed up by speed glitches. So what actually causes the glitch? As far as we are aware, the player must have a speed pet equipped to cause this glitch. It seems likely a player with their speed pets consumed may still glitch. The glitch does not always occur, and different accounts glitch with differing frequency. Some players like Sin seem to have others glitch more often, while other players like Slither King are barely affected. Additionally, some players like Beast Titan seem to glitch for other players more frequently. We strongly suspect the glitching is linked to account ID rather than something like system settings. We know that players on alts experience glitching or glitch for others with variable frequency. We have not been able to discern any patterns in the IDs though. It is possible, though unlikely in our minds, that differences in glitching are caused by individual bias. For example, Sin may appear to experience glitching more frequently than others because of his aggressive style. His hyperfixation on speed glitching may also cause him to notice close instances that other players wouldn't. Though we consider these unlikely to satisfy the volume of the experiences, they are probably still contributing factors. Speed glitching has nothing to do with skins. We've already seen a variety of those. It isn't latency. The delay between the server calculating something and the client displaying it can be reversed. An event should happen at the same relative time for everyone, even if there are delays in those times. Sin's current theory is that it has to do with interpolation. Interpolation is how the client constructs new frames by estimating changes in old frames. For example, if we know the speed and direction of a player, we can move that player without input from the server. The server doesn't actually need to update any clients on the speed and direction of a player unless they change. If the speed and direction of a player change, the server can simply update the information for its clients. This is what allows players to have smooth gameplay at higher frame rates. Sin believes there is a bug in this system, particularly with how it handles pets. The details though, or even the cause, remain unclear. We do know that spectators can have other players glitch. The current footage is an example of that. Finally, we will review a multitude of examples. Unfortunately, we don't have access to many examples showing multiple perspectives. Most players don't record, and while editing this video, we also aren't in contact with many players. Players whose perspectives we can access must be aware enough of the glitch to identify it when it occurs and clip it. This is relatively rare compared to how often glitches happen. The majority of our examples are simply Sin's perspective, usually of him dying. Luckily, because Sin dies so much, examples are bountiful. However, these cases are also limiting because we cannot accurately determine his frame of death. Also, lacking multiple perspectives makes it extremely time-consuming to prove syncing errors. Therefore, Sin has elected to show only cases which he feels are relatively clear. Many cases of glitching are much more nuanced than what you will see in this video and can be difficult to spot. This makes them even more harmful to the game as players begin thinking they need to improve or change their skill, never realizing it was just a visual rendering error. The current clip showcases how tricky these can be to spot. When analyzing your own footage for glitches, we recommend looking at the frame before death. Yes, we know we haven't set a good standard in this video, but the frame before death allows you to judge how a situation will evolve. On the other hand, in a death frame, the defining event has already taken place. Determining if a kill is glitched or not without another perspective will take game knowledge and skill. You will sometimes be wrong, that is okay and normal. We've had plenty of pro players debate the specifics of what appears glitched and what doesn't. This includes us. So good luck. Let's get this garbage fixed.